Hello, welcome to the Roundhouse podcast with Paul Sulentrop of Wichita State University Strategic Communications. Thank you very much for listening. We appreciate your time. Our guest today is Wichita State women's basketball coach Terry Nooner. He joins us to wrap up summer workouts. He has 11 new shockers. They are joining 4 returners, Breon White, Kylie Ortiz, Mai Sissoko, and Fiona Jamande. So Terry, let's start with assembling the roster. You're in your 3rd season here at Wichita State. A lot of experience before that, obviously, at different places. What have you learned about recruiting as all of us kind of continue to make our way through the new ways of college athletics?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, we really wanted to, as we evaluated and looked at a roster, we looked at, the league and who's at the top of the league and trying to figure out how do you go from where we were at our point in the league and trying to move up towards the middle and the top of the league. And so for us, it was about just bringing in high character kids that love the game, kids that worked hard, kids that love to work on and off the court, kids that had integrity, and gym rats that had a chip on their shoulder that kind of had a lot to prove. So we kind of came up with like kind of like a profile of like the person first, and then you kind of added like a skill set of kids. So that was kind of like our approach going into the portal.
So the recruiting process is sped up with the transfer portal. Do you find yourself doing more background work, talking to coaches? How do you go about finding the people you want on your roster?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. So when you first see kids that get into portal, of course you're looking at film and you're looking at skill sets and that kind of stuff. But for us, culture is so important, and with you having to replace players and having to create a new team every year, like the culture is going to be a big part of how you try to build your roster. And so we talked to their head coaches, assistant coaches. We talked to AAU coaches that were connected to the kids. We talked to opposing coaches that we may knew that they played against. So we tried to do a lot of background work on the people that we were bringing into our program to make sure that they were the right fit culture-wise. And then, of course, the basketball is going to be the basketball.
You mentioned the American Conference. What have you learned about this conference and how you best go about competing in it?
I mean, it's tough. I mean, our league, I mean, we have WNBA players and pros that are coming out of our league. I think when you look at the history since we've been in the league, like if you look at on the court and position-wise, I think the 4 position I would say has been the deepest position in our league, and so that was important. And then it's just having people that are versatile. You have to be able to play a bunch of different styles. I mean, because we got a bunch of different styles of play. You got, like athletic and tough physical teams like Temple and North Texas and UTSA and Eastern Carolina with the way they play. And you have teams like Tulsa who, shoot threes and are super versatile, and they got their motion offense. Rice is similar to that. South Florida run a lot of plays within their physical, and UAB shoots a lot of threes, and they play kind of 5 out, and so you got to have versatility within your roster to be able to guard people and score. So I think we assembled a roster where we can play big, we can play small. We got versatile forwards who can move to the guard spot, that can move from the guard spot to the center spot if we need to. We got big, strong posts, we got athletic posts, we got shooters, and so we really felt that we needed to have a bunch of versatility and then having a deep roster too, because you always got to deal with injuries at some point during the season, and being able to have people that can step up in other people's places is important.
You've talked about how pleased you are with the strength and conditioning work this summer, boot camp.
Yeah.
Assistant coach Antoine Scales took charge of that.
Yep.
What did boot camp look like?
It was a lot of running, a lot of core work. It was early in the mornings. We were up here at 7 in the morning, 3 or 4 times out the week, in addition to the stuff we did on the court and in the weight room. So he and Coach Jazz, our strength coach, kind of came up with a program for how to mesh what she does in the weight room with what we want to do conditioning-wise, and then kind of fit that into what we needed on the court. But we really feel like we needed to be able to apply a lot more pressure. We need to be in a lot more shape. And another thing I think that you add when you talk about condition, I think it just makes players a lot more mentally tough. And if you can put them through a bunch of tough stuff through the summertime, and it kind of creates camaraderie with the players, and So when we get through tough situations, when we get into the season, and the way that we want to play is aggressive and fast and get up in people. And so for us to be able to do that, we need to be in the best shape. So I think, Coach Scales really helped us build a big-time foundation throughout the summer. And, we're excited about where we are going into the school year.
Bree White described this team as dogs going at dogs. You've talked about the competitive spirit of this group.
Yeah.
Give us some examples about what you've seen.
I think, especially if you watch it as a coaching staff, we watched Taya Davis and Diamond Richardson. They both are kind of play the point guard spot, and just, watching those two compete against, like if you watch them compete during live action and during practice, you probably would think that they didn't like each other, but then they're like the closest and like best friends off the court. And so just to see the type of team, because sometimes people can get over competitive or can get to where it crosses the line. I think we have a team that really pushes the limit. They really push each other every single day, and everybody has had like a great day, and they celebrate each other when one is making shots or one is doing great on defense. And so, like Bree said, it's a bunch of dogs that are really go at each other, and they want to make each other better. And then once practice is over, everybody's friends and they're working out together, and they're hanging out at the TBT games and all the different stuff that they do off the court. So it's just a fun group to be around.
You're wearing your Nike gear.
Yes.
I see Dominic and Lucy running around the department with carts full of boxes. They've got to be the most popular people in this building.
Yep.
Wichita State went to Nike officially on July 1st. What's that mean for your basketball program?
It means a lot. I mean, if you look at recruiting, like most kids and the people that we're trying to bring in, like their brand of choice is Nike. We always will have to, tell them that they need to wear Under Armour stuff when we're doing like stuff with the team and stuff in public and that kind of stuff. And I mean, that's just the brand that they grew up on. That's the brand that they really love to wear. I mean, and not even just them, like my coaching staff, they've been pleased with it when we tell recruits, and they know that we're going to Nike. That's been a huge plus for us when we're bringing new people into the program. So it's been huge for us. It was funny just seeing, like the first day when my staff came into the office is going from June to July, and they could wear their Nike stuff legally and proudly, just seeing the air of confidence, and everybody's kind of walking around with their shoulders reared back a little bit more and a little bit more confident. And like even my staff, like they just love to wear Nike stuff, and this was what they were wearing when we weren't doing school sanctioned events and that kind of stuff. So everybody's just been happy with the move and the way the gear looks. And like Dominique, like you said, when he comes in with the boxes, everybody's going crazy and happy.
Everybody's happy to see those two when they are handing out the gear. No doubt about that. How much of the attraction to Nike is the look and the feel, and how much of it is performance for the basketball players?
I think the look and the feel is kind of what Deion says, something about you look good, you play good, or something like that. I think it's just I think it's just, when they feel good, I think they just feel a lot more confident when they're out there, and they're in things that they're comfortable playing in, that they've played in their whole entire lives. And so I think it's going to help us play a lot better. And I think it just gives us a lot more mental confidence. And like you said, with Deion, like you feeling good, and so you play good. So you look good, you feel good, you play good. And so that's what we're hoping for.
Is there a shoe model that's particularly popular with women's basketball players?
I think probably now what I've seen the most big is, and some of the stuff I've learned just from my daughter. She's 12 now and she plays. So Asia Wilson came out with a shoe like this off season, and that's been probably one of the more popular one. I know Caitlin Clark has her version of like Kobe's that sell out as soon as they go online. So those are super popular. Sabrina's are popular. The Kobe's are popular. But really too with me is I want my players to feel comfortable too in what they play in. And so you have some people like lower, some people like higher, and so you kind of this summer just try to let them get a feel for what they feel comfortable in and what they play the best in.
Guard Jaila Harding, Wichita Southeast.
Yes.
He's one of your newcomers. You've
Yes.
had success with Treasure Job, Taylor Jamison, past 2 seasons returning to Washington. Tell us about Jaila. How does she help the Shockers?
Just a sweet kid. I mean, skill set wise, and she's probably gonna get tired of it because she does more things than what we say. But the biggest thing is her ability to shoot and make 3-point shots. We had a one, like we would do like these 10-minute scrimmages where we might play for a quarter in time. It was one day before we were going recruiting, we played 2 of them, and then one of the 10-minute scrimmages, and this with a running clock, got fouls and everything. I think she was like 6 for 8 from 3 in like one quick 10-minute scrimmage. So just her ability to shoot. We didn't shoot the ball from 3 very well last year, and so having her, just her ability to stretch the floor. She's very smart and cerebral. She's always in the gym. She's super, super tough mentally, and just to have like I've talked about so many times, like bringing hometown kids back home and the pride that they have in this place and wanting to be able to play in front of their family and friends, I think is huge. But her skill set, just her smarts, her IQ, and then her ability to be able to knock down shots, like it's gonna help us a lot, and it's gonna make me look like a better coach.
She played at Butler County, played
Yep.
at New Mexico State before transferring to WSU.
Mm-hmm.
At Southeast, Jamila Bonner, a former Shocker, was one of her coaches. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yep.
Very good. Bree White, one of your returners.
Yep.
She's talked about working on her outside shooting skills.
Yep.
Tell us about that. Does that have the potential to be a bigger part of Bree's game this season?
Yes. I mean, I think anytime if you look at offenses and especially the way the game is kind of changing, 3-point shooting is such a big part of the game now, and it's an added bonus where you can have people that are forwards and people that play in the front court that can shoot from 3 because it just gives you more space for the guards to be able to drive and that kind of stuff. And it was when Bree came in, we knew that she can really shoot. And so last year was like just getting her more comfortable with, she had kind of had some handcuffs on her with being able to stretch out and take shots from the outside. And so she's worked tirelessly with Mandy and Shamari and our coaching staff through the off season of just trying to like stretch her range out, because we know that if she can knock down threes, and if we have 4s and 5s that can knock down threes, that's gonna make it better for everybody.
You've talked about how much you liked your group of power forwards.
Yeah.
Bree White would be one of them. Yep. Take fans through that group and why you like that bunch so much.
It's just, so you got Bree, who's strong and physical. You got Treasure Thompson, who's 6'2" with a 6'7" wingspan, that left-handed, that super smart, defensive demon, block shots, can guard 1 through 5, can get the rebound, can bring it up the floor, can make plays for her teammates. She's talks on defense. Just her versatility. She just looks like some of the top players that we've had in our league. So getting her was huge. Jada McDonald's is just explosive, strong, aggressive. She chase down blocks, drives to the basket, just tough mentally. A Dallas kid, and so she just kind of brings like that Dallas, that city toughness that you have from them. You have Sophie, who we got from Seattle, who's more of a stretch forward, who's cerebral, can pass, can stretch the floor. She shoots 3, she shoots mid-range. She can score in the post. She can score, with both hands. She can handle the ball and just has a great feel for the game. Who else are the 4?
Bella?
Bella's probably more of a 5, but she's just another front court kid that's guards. She can play guards 1 through 5, super athletic, runs the floor, runs like a deer, block shots, pick and rolls, offensive rebounds, so she creates extra shots for us. So we just got a lot of versatility with that position. And then some of them ladies, Sophie, we've seen her do it. We've seen Treasure do it. We can move them also to the guard spot if we need to, if we want to play with a bigger lineup, which I think that just brings some more problems for the other teams that we'll have to play against.
Let me run through these names to familiarize fans with them. You mentioned Jada McDonald.
Yep.
She's a junior from Dallas, transfer from Pensacola State College.
Yep.
Treasure Thompson, graduate student, transfer from Texas Southern. Sophie, you're going to have to help me with her last name. Benaruga.
Uh-huh.
Okay. She's also a graduate student, transfer from Seattle University. So that's the group of many of the players that'll be playing the power forward for the Shockers. Point guard Taya Davis. Taya Davis.
Yep.
She played for Antoine Scales at Garden City. Now here at Wichita State, transfer from Fordham. How does she fit into the plans?
Just great. I mean, she's just an elite pass first point guard. I mean, with Antoine, like I've seen games and seen stats. She had a game where she had 22 assists one time in a game. The players just love to play with her just because she plays to try to get you shots and get people open, and her ability to pass the ball has been, awesome for us at the point guard spot. And she's super, super cerebral and smart. She's tough, and each game at least once a game she's going to steal the ball from the opposing point guard and go down and lay it up. That's just kind of like one of her little skill sets, but just runs the team, just a vocal leader, and she just brings toughness and tenacity that you need from the point guard spot, and just understands how to run the team. She knows when people need shots, and she understands where people need to get the ball so they can score and that kind of stuff. So the players, they love playing with Tia.
You've got at least two players, Abby Cater and Treasure Thompson, who say they're interested in sports broadcasting.
Yeah.
How much of a look at their personalities and their ability to, talk in front of a group? How much of a look at that have you gotten?
Yeah, I mean, they've done like social media stuff, and Abby, she's a person that's shy at first, but then once you get to know her, like super outgoing and smart and funny, and makes jokes, and me and her got a lot of jokes just because she's a DC kid, and so sometimes if she's not playing good, instead of saying from DC, I tell her she's from Annapolis or different counties from that's not considered like DC, that kind of throw little jabs and stuff at her, but just a good kid. And then you have Treasure, big personality, always talking, fun, laughing. She calls and checks on me on weekends and lets me know she misses me, and so she's a big personality. So I can definitely see them being good at that. Hopefully we can get them in some situations where they can kind of do some of those things.
Yeah, I think fans would enjoy their personalities based on what the short time I've been around them. Yes, Abby and I had a discussion about she's a big Redskins fan, big Kevin Durant fan, being from that part of the country.
Yeah.
Non-conference schedule. What can you tell fans about that?
Really challenge ourselves again this year. Texas Tech is the Big 12 team that sticks out. We'll get to play them on the road. We get to play Oral Roberts again, who we've been playing, who's been, a tough team for us. Missouri State, we'll play in Kansas City at a kind of new event that'll be going on up there at the T-Mobile Center. We'll get Middle Tennessee State, we'll play here, who's a team that's always in the tournament and who plays well. Got a lot of home games. We'll get to go to California for Thanksgiving to play in like a shootout. But it's just a schedule that I feel like we got a bunch of tough teams that we get to play against. Our fans will get to see, through a lot of the home games that we'll get to play, just to see a new style and see us playing the aggressive attacking Wichita style that they really growing and love to see around here in Wichita.
UTSA won the American regular season last season. South Florida went to the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
What do you know about the American at this point? Who are some of the favorites?
I think those teams are gonna always be on the top. It's kind of hard now to really, pick who's gonna win or lose, just because everybody is so active in the portal and you don't know some of the players that people are bringing in. But Coach Karen, who's one of my closest friends, we know she's gonna do a good job at UTSA and the way they play, and they've done a good job of kind of keeping their top players, as best as she can. I think she lost a couple of her guards, but she's always going to be good. South Florida's always going to be good with Jose and what he's been able to do historically at South Florida. Rice is always good, and they always seem to get hot when we get to tournament time. North Texas is physical, and Jason does a great job down there with his groups. And I think they tied for the league our first year here, and then last year I think they got third or something last year. Temple, they're always good. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see, because I know too, as I mentioned those teams, they've had, like UTSA has had Jenkins, who was Player of the Year last year, and I know all those teams have lost a lot of their top players, so they've done a good job of replacing them. So everybody's probably going to be a little bit different this year.
Set us up with a schedule for the fall when you get ramped back up again.
So next week we'll first day of school is Monday. So next week we call it Culture Week. So we just go do a bunch of stuff each day, just hammering down culture and expectations and goals and that kind of stuff next week. And then the second week of school is when we start back individuals, and then when we get into September, that's when we go really get back to ramp it up. So Monday we have our 12-minute run that everybody has to run at least 5.5 laps. So it's something that I stole from Coach Williams when I was at KU, that you do the first day of class when you get back to school. So that's something I would do Monday morning. And then of course you got just official visits and all that kind of stuff, trying to bring new people in, because we're going to have to replace our roster again next year because we have a bunch of grad students. So
who's going to finish first in that 12-minute run?
I would think Diamond and Jaila Harding probably have finished first. They're usually the ones Diamond doesn't like to lose any sprints or anything. So those two are always in the front of everything. So I'm sure they'll be in the front.
Very good. Wichita State basketball coach Terry Nooner, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Roundhouse podcast, courtesy of Wichita State University Strategic Communications. We encourage you to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can find more Roundhouse content at GoShockers.com.